I've been in Spokane now for 10 years. I joined the United States Air Force after college. So when I first got my orders, and I saw it was Washington, I just automatically assumed Seattle, and my uncle had been stationed out in Tacoma before, and so I knew a little bit about Seattle. I had a cousin living over there, so I was excited. And then my instructor at the time was like, oh, no, you got it wrong. You're going someplace even better than Seattle. And so, I was wondering where that was in the state of Washington, because I knew no other place other than Olympia, because it's the capital. And he was like, man, Spokane's amazing. And I was like, okay, well, why? What do you like about it? And he was like, well, it snows. I was like, I don't like that. And then he was like, and there's a lot of space for our horses, and I don't have horses. So once I jumped online and looked up Spokane and its demographics and stuff, I saw the lack of diversity here. So I was already pretty disheartened before I ever showed up. I come from a place where community is so near and dear. We call it our village, where no matter where I'm at in town, there's someone who knows my grandparents, and that, oh, you're Melvin's grandboy, or you're Mary's grandson, or you're Sabrina's son. Community is just naturally a part of who I am. And so once I decided to give Spokane a chance, I knew that the only way it would actually work with me being here is to find community too. With the lack of diversity in the area, I looked for my diversity on base. That was the most diverse place out here in Spokane, that and Eastern's campus. So first it was my military community, the family that I built there. And then when I started getting involved in high school coaching and working at the local NAACP, volunteering there, I slowly started to build my community in a bunch of different pockets. Started bouncing around from church to church, started building church family all over the city too. So it just kind of started to grow organically. You put love out there, love finds you and embraces you, and I think that's exactly what happened. There was one person on the school board in my local town named Harry Blake, who was a black man who I used to see on the regular because his daughter was in the same grade that I was, and so that was always in the back of my mind. And once I started getting more involved in the city of Spokane and coaching high school football and learning more about our community and our school district, it really started to speak to me a little bit. And then one day at our political action committee at the NAACP, a woman by the name of Jan Baker mentioned that she thinks I should try to run for elected office. And so, I saw school board coming open, so I started to do more research about this local school district and some of the issues that they had. And, it just resonated with me so much. I think we all have these ideas about what these systems should look like and what they should be and how to actually impact and create change. For me, it was a no-brainer. I had all of those doubts, right? I was a 25-year-old kid, essentially, not from here, no kids here, no kids in the school district. I even heard it on my campaign that, people would ask, what dog do you even have in this fight? And so I wasn't sure if people were going to buy in, and I didn't win the election the first night. It wasn't until night 2 or 3 that I took the lead in the election. It was a really close call, and like I mentioned, it was a 20-year incumbent that I was going against. So the odds were definitely not in my favor in that moment, but through trust and faith and the support of people all around town, we got it done. The local teachers union helped a lot. I remember having my interview with them and sweating bullets, being so nervous, because they had all of, the educational acumen that I didn't have yet. And they supported me and they rallied behind me and they helped me get out in front of as many people as possible. The Black community helped a ton, and they have helped support me throughout my entire tenure on the school board, and I am more than appreciative of those relationships and our community, supporting and rallying behind me then and still all the way up until now during some of our most turbulent times. But without a doubt, there was a lot of support from a lot of other communities here. For those next 2 years, I was in heaven, getting to serve my nation, being actively involved in this community and getting the opportunity to positively impact the lives of 30,000 students every single day within the city of Spokane. But my contract was coming to an end in the military, and I thought about re-enlisting, but at the same time, they gave me orders to move to England. So in order, to re-enlist, I'd be moving to England, leaving Spokane, leaving the community that I built, and leaving the elected office that I was voted in to serve. And I had to make a really tough choice, and I ended up choosing Spokane over the military, my military career. And we started doing a lot of different things in the school district. overhauling our discipline policies to decrease arrest rates, to decrease the disproportionality that was associated with those arrest rates. Even though there's so few children of color here in the city of Spokane compared to what I'm used to, students of color were being arrested, suspended, and excluded from class at a much higher rate than any other student in our school district, and that's something that spoke to me very dearly. So that was one of the very first things I really wanted to tackle, and we were able to do that. Closing the opportunity gap or the achievement gap with graduation rates. Again, students of color and students of poverty were graduating at a much lower rate in Spokane public schools. We started to attack that, and for 4 straight years now, we've achieved all-time high graduation rates across the board. My journey as a civil rights officer, began as me reading through Francis Scott's bio and seeing the sacrifices that she laid down to try to advance civil rights in the city of Spokane. And so after, it became public that I was no longer running for school board, all of these amazing opportunities, came my way. People were recruiting me to apply for this job, to come work here, to come do this, to come do that. Many of those, making some really good money. And I just waited for the right opportunity because none of them really spoke to me the way that this did. And so when I first got approached by a city council president about this job, it resonated the same way school board resonated for me 6 years ago. So I thought about it. Then, Cupid Alexander talked to me about it, and then other city council members talked to me about it. Then the mayor talked to me about it. Again, very similar process as when I thought about school board. It just, it happened and it felt right. And I know it's the right thing to do. So that's how it all started. But there's a lot going on in Spokane that I think we could get ahead of, that we're kind of behind on, and kind of playing catch up and responding to complaints and inquiries in regards to civil rights violations that, and not only a position like this, but an office of civil rights in the city of Spokane is long overdue because of all those needs. I am the kind of person that's always looking for the next path, the next goal, the next metric. How do I do more? How do I achieve more? How do I help more? So, no, I don't feel fulfilled yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that would mean I would know what my end goal is, ultimately, and I don't know what that is yet. So when I figure that out, I could probably be able to answer that question better. But today, because I don't know what the end goal is, ultimately, for my life in its entirety, I don't know if I'll ever actually feel fulfilled.